everyone, my name is Sara and this is a gentle yin yoga class. So we're going to start in a seated position. I'm using a blanket today. You will need a blanket or a towel. And I folded mine pretty tightly on kind of a tight square to prepare for our first pose. And that's just to help lift your hips up off the floor. If you are using a towel, you might want to actually use two towels if you find that you're really low to the ground. And then you want to sit right on the edge of that blanket or towel. And we're just going to start with some centering, so kind of a cross-legged position. And then if you have blocks, I would suggest you grab your blocks today. If you don't have blocks, you could use books, ideally the same size. And then I'm going to use a bolster today. If you don't have a bolster, a pillow will work. And of course a yoga mat or a carpet. So just take time to find a comfortable seat on your prop and close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. Sit up nice and tall. And just take a nice cleansing breath, breathing very deeply into your nose. And then exhaling also through the nose. If your sinuses are stuffed up, you can breathe through your mouth. But if not, try breathing just through your nose. And then also, see if you can pull your breath way down into your belly. So by that I mean, inhale from way down low. And if you want to experience what that feels like, bring a hand to your low belly. And then just notice how it pooches out. It sort of makes a big rounding belly like a baby does when you inhale. If it doesn't do that, then you might be breathing way up high, way up here in your chest. So see if you can pull that breath down low. And inhale really slowly. And exhale very slowly too, sort of calming your breath down. Just becoming more and more aware of your breath today. So one of the Yoga Sutras says that yoga is the stilling the modifications of the mind. And as you know, that's very, very difficult to do. Our minds usually start to race when we're quiet and don't have any distractions. So you know, sometimes if you're in a yoga pose, especially when we practice yin, that you start to think about other things. You might think about, oh, that phone call you need to make, the grocery list, all the things that you need to do later in the day. So it's really hard to let go of our thoughts, right? It makes our minds even more busy when we try to calm it down. But we really can't block out thought and emotion. In fact, we need our thought and emotion. But the issue is whether you listen to that. So we like to call that the monkey mind. That's that constant chatter, yada, 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 yada. So instead of listening to that monkey, one way to calm it down is to make friends with it. Give it a job, give it something to do. And so one way to do that is to just remind yourself over and over again, be aware of my breath, be aware of my breath. Just keep coming back to your breath, noticing your inhales, noticing your exhales. That monkey mind is never going to go away, so we might as well make friends with it. Beautiful. All right, go ahead and open your eyes and do a little shoulder roll. Take your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Nice and slow like this, really emphasizing your movements. Forward, up, back, and down. And just continue doing that, noticing how that feels in your shoulders. We hold a lot of tension in the shoulders and the neck. Really emphasizing how that feels. And then let's reverse that. Come up, back, down, and forward. Up, back, down, and forward. And just continue moving that around. It should feel nice. Beautiful. All right. Let's make a little bigger movement with the shoulders. So one at a time, just take your arm, it doesn't matter if it's your right or left because we're going to do both, and move your shoulder around, move your arm around. Turns out I'm going backwards. And then when you're ready, reverse it and go forward. Ooh, mine's cracking, making noises. Nice. All right, and then come to the other side. Move that shoulder around. Be very intentional with your movements. And then switch direction, reverse direction. Yeah. All right, come back to center. Bring both of your hands out wide. Take a big inhale, reach up high, reaching up to the sky, and then exhale down. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, bringing your energy up, reaching up. Exhale down. Beautiful. And again, inhale, reach up. Exhale down. Nice. All right, we're going to move into our first pose, which is star pose. This is similar to the butterfly pose that I do a lot. Just a little bit different. So still seated on your blanket. You might have to adjust it if you need to. Go ahead and do that. And then bring your feet out in front about 6 inches apart, more or less. Maybe a little bit wider than that. Maybe more like a foot apart. And then if you want to use your props here, you can take your blocks, grab them. I'm going to stack mine pretty high. So the idea is that this could eventually support your head if you can get down that low. I'm probably not going to at first. So this is a big hip opener. So you're going to start by just taking your hands with the palms up and so you're going to bring them underneath your legs here. But make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall, pulling your shoulder blades back, and then start to hinge forwards very slowly, way down at the hip level. So don't just bring your head forward yet. Just start hinging way down at the hip level. And then see how that feels. Just keep going until you feel like you found your edge. This is not going to work for me. I don't think I'm going to use that. Just keep coming, threading your hands underneath if you can. If that's not comfortable for you, just, you can bring your hands up on top. And then eventually, when you feel like you can't go any further at the hip level, just let your upper body relax. We're going to be in this pose for a while, a couple of minutes. So this is an opportunity for you to practice making friends with that monkey mind. Offer that monkey a banana by repeating to yourself, I'm aware of my breath. I'm aware of my breath. Noticing your inhales, noticing your exhales. Beautiful. Take a moment here just to notice if you feel this more on one side or the other. And then maybe lean to one side a little bit with your torso and just notice if that changed the way your body opened. Just becoming aware. And then maybe try leaning to the other side a little bit. Very subtle movement. And just see if that changed where you feel this in your body. And then gently move back to where you feel like you're centered. And see if you can let your body float a little bit more forward. Maybe your shoulders, your head, your neck. You want to shake it, yes and no. Becoming more and more aware of your breath. Maybe even noticing now if in this it's a little bit compromised in the chest, but notice if you can tell how your back expands when you inhale and then slightly collapses on the exhale. On your next exhale, see if you can sink just a little bit deeper, maybe just a fraction of an inch. Beautiful. And on your next exhale, maybe your hands will come a little bit further under your legs and maybe your torso will sink a little bit deeper. Beautiful. We're going to start to unwind here. So very, very slowly, move in slow motion. Start to bring your hands back from under your legs. Really slowly. And then work your way up. And just pause here for a moment. And then bring your hands to the outside of your knees, your legs, and slowly press them up together. Support yourself with your hands. Take your feet wide and just let your knees float into the center. And you can kind of round your back here. I'm always saying don't tuck your tailbone, but this time we're going to tuck it and just release any pressure from the low back. Beautiful. And then take your legs out in front and kind of shake them out. All right, we're going to move into our second pose. I'm going to take the blanket now and unfold it so that it's not quite as steep. So more like about that level. So if you have a blanket or a towel, you might want to do that. And then come back. Just sit on your blanket. We're going to, in this position, or in this pose, we're going to bring the right foot up into your groin area, keeping your foot flexed. Your knee is out to the side, bent. If you have knee problems and this bothers your knee, see if you can adjust. Maybe you want to take your foot out a little bit, maybe in further. Maybe you want to prop it up with a block or a blanket or anything that you have handy. And then your left leg is out straight, your foot is flexed. Again, you can use a prop here for your head. We're going to hinge again, coming forward over that left leg. It may not work for you. Sometimes those props don't work for me. I'm going to see if it works. So take your time to make sure you're not tucking your tailbone back here. Sit up nice and tall. Take a big inhale. And on the exhale, begin to hinge at the hip level, coming over that leg. And then when you feel like you can't go any further, relax your back, your upper body. And just kind of fold over that leg. Coming back to your breath. Making friends with that monkey mind again. We're going to find a little movement here. So take your torso and just move a little bit to the right and then a little bit to the left. It's like a little sway. Very slow. Just noticing where you feel this. Everybody's going to feel it in a different place. And just allow your upper body to be heavy and relaxed. And then eventually find some stillness again and let go here. Beautiful. We're going to take one last stretch. So taking your hands, walk them out as far as you can go. Relax your upper body. One more big breath here. Big inhale. And long exhale. And then slowly start to walk your hands back, working your way upright. Roll your shoulders. And then take that right leg out long, kind of shake it out. And then bend your knees, bring them in, and take both knees to the right side and then to the left side. And just move back and forth a few times. All right, we'll move to the other side. So this time taking your right leg out long. Left foot comes into the groin area. Keep both of your feet flexed, protect that knee. And each side's going to be a little different. So if you need a prop on this side, I'm going to grab my smaller block. Take your time, set yourself up for the pose. Remember, you can adjust that foot, bringing it in a little bit more or out. Straighten up your spine, nice and tall. It helps to do this on an inhale. You can even close your eyes and see if you can lengthen your spine. Make sure you're not tucking that tailbone. And then on an exhale, begin to fold over your right leg. Taking it slowly, hinging down low at the hip level at first, keeping your head up and your shoulders back. And then when you feel like, oh, I can't go any further, then relax your upper body, let it round and come forward. Relax your face and your jaw. Relax that space between your eyebrows, your shoulders, your hips. And then when you're ready, find that movement again, maybe taking your body a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. Just kind of shifting your weight. And noticing where you feel this. And then when you're ready, find stillness again. Relaxing your upper body, letting your weight just kind of pull you forward. Beautiful. We're going to do one last big stretch. So take your hands and walk them out as far as you can, letting yourself come forward just a little bit more. Maybe your head gets a little closer to your knee or to your leg. Big inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And one last big breath here, big inhale, and long exhale. And then slowly begin to walk your hands back, taking your time slowly until you come upright, and just pause here at the top. And then begin to unwind that left leg, take it out long, shake it out. Beautiful. And then again, bend your knees. Bring the soles of your feet up. And then we're going to take the feet wide on the mat and then let both knees float over to the right to let your left hip kind of come up in the air. Stretch along that left side. And then release that and bring both knees over to the left. Let that right hip come up in the air. Release that, come back to center, bring your feet together and your knees together, and then just let both knees kind of float from side to side, a little windshield wiper action, keeping the knees together. Beautiful. All right, we're going to flip around and make our way into a heart melting pose. Oh no, yeah, let's do heart melting first. Sorry about that. Okay. So if your mat's not very thick or your carpet at home or whatever you're working on, you could take a blanket to put under your knees if you like. Otherwise, just come into a tabletop position. So your knees under your hips, your wrists under your shoulders. And just pause here. Let's do a little bit of some cat-cow movement first before we move into heart melting. So to move into cow, you're going to lengthen or kind of drop your belly, lift your tailbone, pull shoulder blades back, look up. And then exhale, round your spine, looking towards your navel, pressing into your hands. And then just start to move back and forth a few times. Inhaling and exhaling, follow your breath. And as you move, maybe close your eyes if it doesn't make you dizzy, and see if you can pay attention to any other movements your body might be asking you for in this moment. So say you want to take your hips over to the left, or you want to Shake your head around. Any little organic movement that might feel good to you in this moment. Creating lots of space and length in your spine here. And then eventually work your way back to a neutral tabletop position. And then take your hands out in front of you, way out in front, and then start to bring your chest towards the floor. This is a big shoulder stretch. So if you start to do that, so your hips stay stacked over your knees, and you find that, oh, I can't go any further, grab a block for your head or a book or whatever prop you have. Let your head rest on that. Keep your elbows lifted. Now, if you find you don't need that and you can come all the way down to the floor, bring your head all the way down to the floor. Just make sure your head does have a place to rest. And then come back to your breath. Come back to that awareness of your breath. Notice where your breath begins and see if you can bring it down low into the belly again. Expanding your hips as you inhale in your low back. Bring the breath all the way up into your chest and your ribs on the inhale. And then on the exhale, let everything contract again. We're going to find a little movement here again. So take your hips a little bit over to the right. You should feel an opening in your left side. And then release that. Take the hips over to the left. Big stretch on the right side. And then move back and forth here, very slowly. And then eventually find stillness. Beautiful. Slowly begin to release that. Ooh, I popped up a little too quickly. Start to walk your hands back. Come all the way up onto your knees. Pause here and big shoulder roll. Go in both directions. Nice. All right, we're going to take the arms out to the side and then cross them over. Just remember which one you crossed on top. Doesn't matter, we're going to do both. And just give yourself a big hug, a little counter pose to what we just did. From here, see if you can lift your elbows up in the air and then exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. One last time. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. Beautiful. Open your arms out to the side. Kind of pulse them back a few times. And then on the exhale, cross the opposite arm on top, giving yourself a big hug. Reach your fingertips around there. Beautiful. And again, inhale the elbows up, lifting up. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. Beautiful. Release your arms and then just let your arms feel really heavy and kind of swing them back and forth. All right, we're going to move into a child's pose here. So if you find that this bothers the top of your feet here, you can put a blanket or a towel underneath your feet, kind of propping them up a little bit. You could also take that blanket and tuck it at the back of your knees. So if you find that child's pose is not really that relaxing to you, then try one of those things and see if that helps. Or you could even tuck a pillow back under there. I like a wide knee child's pose, so bringing your toes together like this, knees apart, and then sink down. You can then, since we did some shoulder work, try bringing your arms behind you. Just find a comfortable position, relax. Keep your focus on your breath. On your next inhale, reach your arms out in front. Reaching your arms out long. And take your forehead, if it's not on the mat, you can put a block under your head and roll that bony part of your head back and forth. The bony part of your forehead, I mean. Very slowly. And find an opening in the back of your neck. If you find that as you're rolling, there's one little area that needs a bigger stretch, then just pause there and hold it. Beautiful. Slowly start to release that, lifting up. We're going to come all the way up into the knees again. Bring your hands behind you, your arms behind you. Maybe clasp them together and see if you can lift your arms up in the air. Big shoulder stretch again. And then roll your head around here, opening your neck. Go in both directions. Beautiful. And release that and just kind of shake everything out. All right, we're going to move into a frog pose using the bolster or a pillow. So if you don't have a bolster at home, you can use a pillow. Let's see, how am I going to do this? I'll do it this way so I can show you. So go ahead and straddle your bolster. Sort of like this, and then bend you want to keep your knees and your ankles kind of in alignment. So everybody's going to be different where they feel this. So you're going to kind of let your knees slide out to the side. So you do want to make sure you have some support. So either a mat, if you're not turned sideways on your mat, or a carpet or something, or some sort of a prop under your knees. And then from here, just let yourself kind of sink down over your pillow, your bolster, and just find your edge. And by that I mean that place where you feel an opening in your low back or your hips. If you're not feeling anything, you can kind of move your hips back a little bit. That's a little more intense. If it's too intense where you are, move yourself forward. We're going to be here for a little while, so don't go too far at first. Find that space where you feel like you can stay there for a while. You can add props if you need them, because you're going to eventually just let your head rest on something. So if you're at the edge of the bolster like I am, or your pillow and your head's dropping down, that's not a good position for your neck. So keep it supported, ideally at the same level as your body. And then begin to focus on your breath again. If you have your head turned to one side, gently lift it up and turn your head to the opposite side so we're not creating tension in the neck. If you have your head forward, then just roll it back and forth a few times. Keep your awareness on your breath. Beautiful. From here, we're going to go just a little bit more deeper now that we've been here for a little while. So maybe you pick up your body and move your hips back just a little bit. Just find a position that feels a little bit deeper than where you just were. And then relax again. Maybe it's taking your knees out to the side a little more. Beautiful. All right, we're going to start to unwind from this very slowly. So just come onto your forearms and then come onto your hands so that you can kind of lift yourself up and then start to bring your knees together. Take your props out of the way, prop out of the way. Come back into a tabletop. And then take your hands out in front of your shoulders. Drop your hips down. Take your hips over to the left. And then back towards your heels, stretching up your spine. And then over to the right. And then forward again. And do that again, making some big, slow circles. Sorry, and then we're going to reverse direction. So now dropping the hips, taking your hips over to the right, back towards your heels, big stretch, over to the left and forward. And just go ahead and move at your pace, paying attention to your body. Beautiful. All right, from here we're going to drop all the way down onto the belly, onto your belly. Coming into Sphinx pose. So bring your elbows under your shoulders, spread your fingers wide. I almost don't have enough room, I got to move forward a little bit. And then press your belly into your mat and inhale, lifting up. And just take a moment here to be aware of your breath as you press your belly into the mat or your low belly. And just notice how when you inhale, you're pressing into the mat, and then on the exhale, it sort of might lift your belly off of the mat. If this is really bothering your low back, bring your elbows out in front a little bit, in front of your shoulders. Just move around until it feels better to you. Take a big inhale. And on the exhale, turn your head over your left shoulder slowly. Keeping your head and neck lifted. Beautiful. Back to center. Another big inhale. And on the exhale, turn your head over your right shoulder, keeping your head and neck lifted up tall. Beautiful. Back to center. And then just let your chin drop towards your chest. Just letting your head float forward. Beautiful. Inhale up back to center. And then slowly release this down. Just make a little pillow for your head. Wiggle your hips, your low back. Bend your knees and let your feet rock from side to side. Beautiful. Release that down. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press up and back into a child's pose. Any version of a child's pose. Just releasing any tension in your low back. Relax your face, your jaw, your fingers, and your hips and your toes. Let everything feel relaxed and heavy. Beautiful. Do a little wiggle here, just from side to side, a little movement, left and right, wiggling your hips and your shoulders. Or sway might be a better term for this. And then slowly bring yourself up and come onto one side of your hips And we're going to come down onto the spine. So you're going to lay long ways on your mat. Coming all the way onto your spine. I've got so many props here today. I gotta get them out of the way. And then just take a big stretch here. Stretch your arms overhead. Point your toes and then flex them. Spread your fingers wide and then make a fist. Just a big, long stretch. And then release your arms down by your side. Bend your knees. Feet are about hip distance on the mat. Bring your right ankle on top of your left knee. And then when you're ready, pull that left knee towards you. Reach through and grab the back of your left leg. Maybe your right elbow will press against your right knee. And find your edge here. See if you can relax your shoulders a little bit, even as you're putting tension on your hips and legs. Relax your shoulders and relax your face and your jaw. And then straighten your left leg up in the air. Circle your left ankle. Go in both directions. And then see if you can pull your left leg a little bit closer to your body. And then allow your left knee to bend again. Take your hands out and maybe reach for your shin here. If your hands don't reach, then just keep them on the back of your leg. If you reach for your shin, then maybe pull that leg a little bit closer to you. Should feel a little bit of a deeper stretch in the right hip. Keep your right foot flexed. Beautiful. Slowly release that back down. Uncross your legs. And just do a little swish back and forth of your knees, massaging your low spine, your hips. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Take your left ankle, cross it over your right knee. And do the opposite side here. Each side's going to feel a little different. And then when you're ready, pull that right leg towards you. Reach through, grab the back of your right leg. Maybe press your knee away with your elbow. Keep your left foot flexed and then relax your shoulders. Come back to your breath. Circle your right ankle. Go in both directions. And then pause. And then slowly straighten your right leg without locking your knee. Just bring that right leg up in the air. And then maybe pull your right leg a little bit closer to you, keeping your shoulders relaxed. And then bend your right knee again. And then maybe reach for your right shin here. If that's not working for you, just hold the back of your leg still. Maybe pulling your right leg a little bit closer to your body. Beautiful. Slowly begin to release that let your feet float back and, your knees float back and forth. We're going to move into a twist. So with both feet flat on the floor, cross your right knee over your left, like you're seated cross-legged in a chair. So your knees are kind of right in the center of your body. And then let both knees float over to the right. Take your left arm behind you or down by your side with your palm facing up. Just see if you can relax your left shoulder on the floor, on the mat. Maybe take your head a little bit over to the right and then turn to look over your left shoulder. Breathe into your left hip. Nice, long, relaxing breaths. Beautiful. Slowly begin to unwind that. Bring your knees back to center. Uncross your legs. And then just let them rock back and forth again a few times. Your knees. And then we'll do the opposite side. So this time crossing the left leg over the right. Knees are kind of right in the center of your body, like you're seated cross-legged in a chair. And then let your knees float over to the left. Right arm comes out by your side, palm up. Or if you like that big shoulder stretch, you can bring it behind you. Just find a place where your shoulder can rest on the floor. Pick up your head, move it to the left, and then turn to look over your right shoulder. Breathing into your right hip. Slowly unwind from this, so taking your knees back to center, uncross your legs, bring your arms down by your side, take your feet wide on the mat, let your knees float into the center. You're going to reset your SI joint to your tailbone, and then maybe take your arms to cactus arms. Roll your head back and forth very slowly. So take your head all the way over to the left and then very slowly move it back over to the right. I'm going to do this 3 or 4 times, moving really slowly. See if you can relax any tension that might have been created in your neck, your shoulder area. And then find stillness. Release your knees. Bring your knees into your chest. Give them a little hug, little rock and roll, maybe some figure eights or circles. Any little movement. If you want to do a happy baby here, go for it. And then work your way into a Shavasana position, taking your left leg long on the mat, right leg long. Let your ankles just fall open to the side. Wrap your shoulders blades under your body. Just letting your heart and your chest fully open here. Let your palms come face up. Connect the back of your body with the earth. Begin to soften your breath again. Letting everything come together in this Shavasana. We won't be in the Shavasana very long, but take this opportunity to just kind of let everything in your body settle. Breathing in, I calm body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is the only moment. If you're ready to move on, begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Find a little movement in your body. If you want to stay in Shavasana, feel free to just stay where you are as long as you like. Otherwise, you can take a big inhale, bringing your arms overhead for a big stretch, like you're first waking up in the morning. And then bend your knees and let your feet or your knees just kind of float from side to side again. And then rolling over onto your favorite side, just give yourself one last moment in a fetal position on your side. And then eventually work your way up into a seated position. And then let's share another breath together by inhaling your arms up. Exhaling all that nice calm energy back into your heart to carry with you throughout the day today. Thank you for practicing. Namaste. Thanks everybody. I hope you have a great day. Hope to see you either at the studio or here on your mat again.